Okay, PDP was in power for 16 years. And remember that it had threatened that it would be in power for 60 years before it was torpedoed from its perch. Now the party is learning to play opposition and is playing it all wrong. It's crying wolf where there is none. So return the ball to them. Let them defend whatever they have said. Because the idea I have is that the PDP just wakes up and says, okay, what can we do today to make the government uncomfortable? So they play one wild card or the other. That is the impression I get about that party. So all these things are not worthy of responses because they just want to keep the polity busy and charged unnecessarily.
Because there are several issues. This evening, this is a story that we're following where the River State Governor Nyesom Wike is raising an alarm of alleged plans to assassinate him in a crowded environment. The governor alleges that according to security reports available to him, the said killing is to be blamed on accidental discharge. Governor Wike was speaking during a Thanksgiving service in Port Harcourt, the state capital, to mark his administration's 3rd anniversary. According to him, he said this is not the first time some alleged political enemies have made similar plans against him. And these are some of the issues raised, Mr. Additional. When a governor of a state is alleging an assassination attempt on his life under this government, is this government concerned about such incidents or such issues?
Well, this is not the first time that will come from the governor of Rivers State. In fact, there is a promo you normally run on your program. And what he's saying there is that there was a plot to assassinate him. And that was months back. The long and short of it is that some people use their own standards to judge others. Is there any state where people are murdered and their heads are cut off? They decapitate the opposition and go away with their heads. You know how many people were killed in Omoku on New Year's Eve. So, if that is happening under the watch of a governor, and that governor is saying they want to assassinate him, when perhaps he is the master of the game, it's not something to be taken serious.
I mean, if you say it's not something to take serious, that's the #1 citizen of one state of Nigeria. And so when these kind of issues are raised, linking to the issues of the security in the land, I mean, and is very much related to what the PDP as a party is saying, that under the government, there seems to be threats to people's lives, especially those of dissenting voices.
We live in this country. And we know things that have been happening in Rivers State since 2015. The level of violence in that state has been incomparable to any other. Yes, there are security challenges all over the country, but you know that some things are peculiar about Rivers State. So if a governor continues to talk about assassination, perhaps he's using his own standard to judge other people. But if he's accusing the Muhammadu Buhari administration, he should forget it. It's uncharacteristic of this administration.
Perhaps we should talk about someone who understands and knows this government very well, because he's a member of the APC and is a, well, will you call him former because he's suspended by the zonal arm of the party, Mr. Timmy Frank. He's written an open letter to the president. I guess you are aware of that letter. And he's alleging that this government has failed in almost everything that they worked for at the campaigns. And he did say that this is not a change that Nigerians and them worked to achieve.
Well, I read the open letter, and what I would like to say is that Timmy Frank has a right to his opinion. Nobody will begrudge him that. But then his opinion is just his opinion. The next person may not agree with him, but he has a right to his opinion. And one thing I know about Timmy Frank is that he is loyal to one presidential aspirant who used to be in APC and is no longer there. So it could be the voice of his master.
Well, I mean, if someone on the inside of the APC is saying some of these things, and it's talked about the issues of corruption and how this government is fighting it, it's talked about the issues of the economy, and in fact, it did raise issues about how corruption is thriving under the inner caucus of the government, or the federal government. It's talked about several issues and the issues of security and how it's been handled under this government. Perhaps you think, because this is not the first open letter that we are seeing in this country, other eminent Nigerians have written open letters to the government. Is the president going to look at some of these issues raised?
You yourself said TB Frank is a suspended member of APC. If somebody is suspended, what do you expect from him other than bile? What do you expect from him other than sour grapes? So, I just see all that he has said. I read that letter and I see a lot of sour grapes in it. And like I said earlier, to me, Frank is known to be loyal to a presidential aspirant who used to be in APC. So what else will he do? He will try to demean and demarket the Buhari government for the advantage of...
Mr. Adesina, let me quickly, before I allow you go, let me read this to you. Mr. Frank says that under Jonathan, Nigerians enjoyed freedom of speech, association, and right to hold dissenting views, including organizing and partaking in protests against unwelcome government policies. All these are no longer areas today, no-go areas rather. Does it mean Jonathan was a better Democrat? This is a very big question. And I guess you have heard some members of the APC raise this kind of concern. Recently, the Senate president raised a very big concern about the plans and attempts to frame him.
Those are in the realms of allegation. You know better that you don't hear an allegation and jump to conclusion. And if there are some people who want the former president, Jonathan, they should encourage him to run next year. Because the race is open, it is free. If they think President Jonathan will run the court better, they should encourage him to enter the free. That's the
Mr. Femi Adesina, Special Advisor to President Muhammadu Buhari on media and publicity. Many thanks for your intervention tonight on the program. Thank you.
Thank you very much.